Hello guys, here I am with one more lecture on the topic a typical flower. What is flower? Flower is an important organ of angiosperm plant. Let's see the definition of the flower first. Definition of the flower: it is defined as a highly modified and the condensed reproductive shoot which take part in the sexual reproduction. This is called flower. The highly modified and condensed reproductive shoot which take part in the process of the sexual reproduction to give their next progeny. A flower is developed on the axil of the small leaf, and this type of flower which develop on the axil of the small leaf is called bract, and such flower is known as bracteate flower, while the flower not having bract, without bract, that flower we call that flower ebracteate flower. This is the diagram of a typical flower. I have one typical flower in my hand, hibiscus flower. So let's have a look on the different part of the flower in detail. Parts of the typical flower. A typical flower is mainly divided into two parts. Part number 1, floral axis, and part number 2, floral whorls. These are the two main parts of a typical flower: floral axis and floral whorl. Let's see the floral axis in detail. Floral axis is the middle part of the flower, and it is further divided into two parts. Part number 1, pedicel, and part number 2, thalamus. What is pedicel? The pedicel is a stalk-like structure on which flowers different part developed or produced. So you can see the pedicel in the diagram here. This stalk-like structure in the flower is called a pedicel, and the flower with the pedicel is known as pedicellate flower or stalked flower. But in some other flower, this pedicel is not present. That flower may lack the pedicel. That's why it is called non-pedicellate flower or the sessile flower. Let's see the second part, thalamus. This is thalamus. The upper part of the pedicel is solid or expanded, and this expanded part of the pedicel is called thalamus. The thalamus, the second part of the floral axis, it consists of 4 nodes and 3 internodes. From each node of thalamus, a whorl or a circle of the modified leaf is produced or arise, and that whorl which arises from the thalamus node is called the floral whorl, the another part of the typical flower. So these are the two part of the floral axis. Part number 1, stalk-like structure, pedicel, and part number 2, the upper part of the pedicel which is swollen and expanded, known as thalamus. Now the second part of the typical flower, floral whorl, which arise or which develops or which produced from the thalamus of the flower. The floral whorl, the circle of the modified leaves, is divided into two parts: accessory whorl and essential whorl. The accessory whorl are the outer whorl of the flower, and the essential whorl are the inner whorl of the flower. The accessory whorl, they are known as accessory because these accessory whorl do not take part directly in the process of the sexual reproduction, but this whorl helps the essential whorl to complete the process of the sexual reproduction, as they help the essential whorl to complete the process of the sexual reproduction. Hence they are called accessory whorl. And the accessory whorl of the floral whorl is mainly divided into two parts: the calyx and the corolla. The single part or single unit of the calyx is called sepal, while the single unit of the corolla is called petal. Let's see the calyx first. Calyx, the first part of the accessory whorl of the floral whorl, which is present next to the thalamus, and it is always green in color, and it is here you can see this is thalamus, and at these side of the thalamus you can see the calyx. The single unit of the calyx is called sepal. So here two sepals you can see, sepal 1 and this is sepal 2. So sepal together is called calyx, the first part of the floral. Now the second part of the accessory whorl, corolla. Corolla, it is always in different color, and this corolla single unit is called petal. Let's see the corolla in the diagram. So here you can see this is corolla, and these are the structure known as petals, the single unit of the corolla. Only two petals I have drawn here. This is petal number 1 and this is petal number 2 by the blue color ink. So petals together is known as corolla, and corolla is the second part of the accessory whorl. This corolla and calyx helps the essential whorl to perform the process of the sexual reproduction. Now the essential whorl. What is called essential whorl? Essential whorl are the type of the floral whorl which directly take part in the process of the sexual reproduction, and this is further divided into again two part. The part number 1 of the essential whorl is called androecium, or this is the male part of the flower, and its single unit is called stamen. Let's see the androecium in the diagram. This black color ink shows the structure of the androecium, and single unit of the androecium is known as stamen. So this stamen is number 1 and this is stamen number 2, and this stamen together is known as androecium, the male part of the flower. What is the structure of the androecium? What is there in the structure of the androecium? In the structure of the typical stamen. In a typical stamen there are three parts. The uppermost part is called anther, in which the male gamete pollen grain is present, and below it the part which connects these two part of the anther is called as connective, the second part of the stamen, and the third part is this stalk like structure called as filament. So stamen shows the presence of three parts, this stamen, connective and anther, and together many stamens are known as androecium, the male part of the flower and the most important essential word of the flower. Now the second type of the essential word is called gynoecium, and gynoecium is the female part of the flower. The single unit of the gynoecium is called carpel. Let's have a look on the structure of the carpel. Can you see the diagram drawn by the red color ink here? This is the gynoecium, and the gynoecium single unit is called carpel. So if you enlarge this carpel, it will be like this. A carpel always shows three parts. The lowermost part at the base, which shows the ovule, it is called ovary, and this is style, and the uppermost part, this is called stigma. Stigma, style and ovary together is known as a carpel, and many carpel together is known as gynoecium. So these are the essential word of the flower. As you can see, the essential word, this androecium and the gynoecium, it is the inner part of the flower, while the accessory word the corolla and the calyx. Corolla and the calyx, these are the outermost part of the flower, and these four parts, calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium, are known as the floral whorl, while these two part, pedicel and thalamus, are known as floral axis. So this is a typical flower. On the basis of presence or absence of the floral whorl, the flower are named as, the flower are given different types of terms: complete flower, incomplete flower, bisexual or perfect or hermaphrodite flower, unisexual or imperfect flower, staminate flower or pistillate flower, neuter flower. So why these names are given to these flower? These names are there only because of the presence of or absence of the floral whorl. To which flower you will call a complete flower? The flower which will have all four floral whorls in that flower. If all four floral whorl will be present in that flower, we can call that flower complete flower. An incomplete flower always shows an absence of one or more floral whorl. While the bisexual flower or perfect flower or hermaphrodite flower are those flowers in which both essential whorl are present, means both androecium and gynoecium are present, that flower you will call hermaphrodite or bisexual or perfect flower. To which flower you will call unisexual flower? The unisexual or imperfect flower is always that flower in which only one essential whorl is present. Unisexual flower may be staminate, it may be pistillate. The staminate unisexual flower means the flower which will be known as male flower, as it is showing the presence of stamen, androecium only. While the pistillate flower is called as female flower because pistillate flower means the presence of carpel and the gynoecium in the flower only, and absence of androecium. So this is called female flower. To which flower you will call the neuter flower? Neuter flower is that flower in which both essential whorl are absent. You will call it neuter flower. On the basis of the presence or absence of one or more than one floral whorl or essential whorl, the plants are also given their specific name. Some plants are known as monoecious plant. Monoecious plants are those plants which bears only one type of flower, maybe male, maybe female, and this type of this type of plant are known as a monoecious plant. For example, the plant of maize. While some plants are known as dioecious plant, dioecious plants shows or it bears the presence of both type of flower, means androecium means male flower and female flower, both flower are there in that flower, in that plant. You can call it dioecious plant, for example mulberry plant. And some plant are known as polygamous plant, and these polygamous plants, this term is there because of the they show the presence of three types of flower. Means they may have the bisexual flower, they may have the unisexual flower, and they may be show the neuter flower, means both sexes, male and female flower will be there, only one flower will be there, and only one sex essential word will be there, while the both essential word may be absent there. For example, the tree of the mango. So on the basis of presence or absence of the floral whorl, these different terms are there: complete flower, incomplete flower, bisexual flower, perfect or hermaphrodite flower, unisexual imperfect flower, or staminate or male flower, pistillate or female flower, neuter flower, monoecious plant, dioecious plant, and the polygamous plant. I hope you are getting it, you are understanding a typical flower, what is a typical flower, and what are the role of the typical flower in the life of the plant, and what important or crucial role can play by this different world and different axis, floral axis and floral world of this plant, and how can plant grow and can raise its generation.